Now let's bring in Middle East analyst and distinguished fellow at NYU Law School, Thane Rosenbaum. Thane, it's great to see you again, as always.
Great seeing you both.
All right, so let's talk about former Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Is bringing back an old face, an established face in Israeli politics, just rebranding him under a new party, is that going to work?
Well, you know, it's not an entirely new face. He has a beard.
Right, yes.
But, you
know. I would say something else, but, but let's not bring it now.
I think I know what you were about to say. Look, you know, it's interesting. Yes, he is a former prime minister. It's also important to remember he's Israel's most decorated soldier. He has the bona fides of a man who should be able to defend the country. On the other hand, he's tarred with Oslo. He's tarred with Labor. Labor Party can't even put together 5 seats anymore. So having been once the former leader of a party so far on the left and being associated with a movement, the Oslo movement, that is totally discredited, and the Israelis have no patience or interest in it anymore, especially during the Trump administration. They're looking at a guy like Barak and saying, how does he fit now with the Trump administration? He doesn't fit. He is old school, and it's the school that believed in a two-state solution, and the Israelis don't buy it anymore, and they certainly don't buy into Oslo.
So on one hand, we're seeing that Barak's party is doing pretty poorly in the polls, as we pointed out. But on the other hand, we're sitting here talking about him as a potential game changer. How does it sit?
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, because, you know, look, Israel doesn't have a lot of former prime ministers that can actually run for office. Omer certainly can't. And so then we know for reasons for that. So you do have a person who at one point led Israel during a very triumphant moment in its history when the left was ascendant and popular. So the question is, can he revitalize that center left or the left? And I would say the only reason Netanyahu believes he's going to win and won the last time is he knows that the ultra-right parties are more powerful than the far left parties. So essentially, Barak is on the wrong side of the ledger.
Very quickly, I just want to get you to comment about whether or not we're going to see even more mudslinging in this election cycle than we did just, several months ago leading into the last set of elections, because you already now have U.S. scandal that's making its way into Israeli politics. You have Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is talking about Ehud Barak's relationship to this billionaire financier Jeff Epstein, who was just charged and pled not guilty, rather, to running an underage sex trafficking ring. But they both had ties to him.
You know, the one thing about democratic elections, Eric, is that people are drawn to billionaires if you're a politician.
Funny how that works.
It's funny. They're looking to billionaires. If you can fly on their jets, if you can get a check from them, you hang out with them. So it's not surprising that Bill Clinton was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. The question is, do you tar someone with guilt by association? At this point, Epstein is still an innocent man until proven guilty. So, yes, you can use this in an election, especially during the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement is less ascendant in Israel, of course. But it's not surprising. Israel, they run dirty campaigns, and they're going to tar each other, and this is one way to do it.
Let's talk about another potential dark horse in the September race, Ayelet Shaked, former justice minister. Right now, the only thing that we know for sure is that Ayelet Shaked is running, but we don't know with what party. What are the options for her?
She's a rock star. I mean, I've said this before she is the kingmaker here. Someone should grab her. It doesn't make a difference where she's running.
But Netanyahu seems reluctant to give her the call.
And I think that's the interesting thing. He's really struggling. I assumed after this last recall vote that she would be the first person he would go to see because it would ice it for him.
So why hasn't he?
Well, I mean, look, there's still bitter feelings that she left his administration. There's no love lost in some way. Also, remember, it's the same thing with Sa'ar. Netanyahu doesn't like young, attractive people that could end up taking over the position eventually. And I think that Shaked is an incredibly attractive candidate on multiple levels, just like Sa'ar is on the Likud ticket. So you can see how he's struggling with this. On the one hand, she makes this election real and possible and victorious. On the other hand, I anoint my successor. And she could very easily get picked by the president of Israel to lead the party.
Well, everybody needs a successor sooner or later. Thane Rosenbaum, thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you.